Hi everyone, Dr. Mun here. How is everyone doing? Good? Yes, I love to hear that. So here we are, week number 5. High five. Almost done. You guys are doing absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. Part number 2, intro to Python. So just sit back, relax, don't worry about a thing. You got this. This is a piece of cake, guys, all right? So I'm going to, yes, you got it. So look in here. This is what the Python symbol or icon looks like. Yes, we're talking about Python programming, not that Python snake. Just had to throw that in. All right, so the joy of coding Python should be in seeing short, concise, readable classes that express a lot of action in a small amount of clear, that's an important word, clear code, not in reams of trivial code that bores the reader to death. So true. Python is such a great programming software that it does do everything it needs to do within a small amount of clear code. It's about half the size of any of the other codes that you see the lines of code, the text code. Yes. So this video here, it's an introduction to Python. So why is Python so popular? You can click here to watch it, or the activities list has the same link there. So on the right-hand side, this is an example of Python. Really, really very simple. This is one whole set of instructions, and it ends with print, and we're done. This is one whole project that has an output that can go and sort through thousands and thousands and thousands of data. So it is the most popular, and it is the fastest growing program language in the world. It's used for tasks. Okay, so like I said, this is one task. It's a web programming. The tasks involve data analysis, so it does work in a nice, convenient way, a structured way to take up tons of data, and then decipher it and put it into the output that you're asking for. If you were into machine learning, robotics, etc., Python is the way to go. That is the program that is universal for machine learning and for AI. It was created in the 1990s. There are learning modules and implementation into networks. It's used for automated repetitive tasks and writing web apps to build machines. So the automated repetitive tasks, that's really important, because those items, you again have lots of data, and it's always a repetitive task. So it will just spit the data out, spit the conclusions out that you want. So yes, Python is the way to go. Rich and easy to understand syntax. That is very important, because it's in the regular language, like what we understand, kind of like the words print, etc. Not some sophisticated language that you have to learn in addition to learning how to write the code. And another good thing is it's an open source, and it has resources that are open source, which means you can go in there and look for something that you can use, and you can actually download it and then tweak it for whatever you want to do. There's also people there, programmers there, that will help you if you come up with a situation where you're kind of stuck. And it's always good to collaborate with other people. So again, it's open source. That means it's free, and you can use whatever is up there. And it runs on almost any computer. This one is interesting too. So again, watch it here or through the link that is on the classroom activities list. Everyone. Now, getting down to how Python is used. You probably can recognize a whole bunch of these. They're top internet web companies here, top government companies here. So you can see that it has a vast usage, and it's still going. It's still progressing. I mean, every time Python gets used, it goes into the open source, and then it keeps getting used over again, and then it just keeps on increasing. So you can see YouTube is written in it, Vedic, Quora, Spotify, PayPal, and the entire infrastructure, Instagram, that's the largest user in the world for Python. Then you get into the governments, the CIA for security, NASA for scientific apps. There are other governments that use Python, government agencies. Instacart for data science. Then we have Goldman Sachs, PayPal. Those items are used in the financial world for a lot of data analysis. You can just imagine how much data there is in finance. PayPal, same thing. So that is an extremely huge area that Python is used in. Then you have Uber and Lyft, back-end servers, front-end interface, and security. Then Google uses it extensively, and also Netflix. They have a whole gamut what they use in for Python for. So again, there's a lot of high-end companies that use Python. And there's another video here. Please watch.
Hi everyone.
So piggybacking on the video, here are some of the fields, major fields that were mentioned. Data science, going back to data science, calculations and data management is the kind of usage they use. Machine learning, okay, artificial intelligence, up and coming. Business, automated large Excel file creations, analytics. Social science, data and statistical analysis, financing, stock trading, risk management. A lot of the financial companies, the big ones, use Python. Networking, a lot of automation, configuration management, and app deployment. So those are the fields. So just if you're interested in any of these fields, I would strongly suggest trying to know Python. Bergen has a Python course if you're interested in this. I only touched the very basics. Some more companies and uses. Data mining, a big thing right now with cryptocurrency, cryptographic security, encryption, decryption. Big field for Python. AI, computer vision, penetration testing, security systems, gaming, the entire system is Python. Robotics ties in with the AI and machine learning, and it's in the entire system. A new field, bioinformatics. This is the DNA and protein sequencing that are used in our health systems. So this is up and coming. This is a really great field to get into. I mentioned cryptography and natural language processing, speech and analysis and text. Couldn't go along with security. Another video, just one, basically this is what, and piggybacking on what we just talked about, what you can do with Python.
Why?
Interestingly, this comparison chart between Python, Java, C++, Swift, JavaScript, and C language, you can see the concentration for Python web apps, and that's the Internet of Things. That's a whole big area. Machine learning, robotics and AI, data visualization, and data science management. A lot of data conceptualizations. Java, you can see, is different, has some other aspects that it covers. I'm not sure why games was not put into this Python category, because it is a pretty big field on that. So just something to look at, keep in mind. So when you're running Python code, it's an interpreted language. That means it reduces the edit, test, bug cycle. So you don't have that as much. If you remember the cycle, program cycle that we were talking about in the presentation number 1, this kind of gets condensed with Python because it's a lot easier program, and there are very less mistakes being there in their programming. That's because it's very simple language. So you can execute Python in 2 ways: in a runtime environment, interactive and script mode. So for interactive, each command that you type in on the computer is interpreted and executed immediately after you press enter. Okay, so it is something you are doing now and you can see it real time. Script mode is when you put a set of instructions or a set of statements, or you type some text, a Python script, into a text file with a py extension, and then you take that and download it into a Python interpreter and point to that file. So you're taking it and you're putting it into a Python interpreter. Then you're running it. So the interpreter is executing it line by line, and then you have a final output. So if you look down here, you have your Py program. It get inputted into or downloaded into a Python interpreter, and then it spits out your results. So different from the other interactive mode. So we have variables and basic data type. So a variable holds the data in memory. It's referenced by a certain name that you give it. It has a specific data storage type, such as string or integers, and the variable names are very case sensitive, and they can't start with a number, and they can use any letter you want, whatever over there. So declaring and assigning a value to a variable. Okay, so a variable is declared and assigned a value using the equal sign. So what that means is whenever you see x, wherever you see x in something, it equals 1. Whenever you see a y, it equals x plus 5. And whenever you see a z, it's the y. So the number assigned to variable is the value 1. Okay, the number assigned to variable y is the value of x plus 5. And the assigned variable for z is the value of y. All right, so when you're working with numbers in Python, it treats it as an integer numbers and decimal numbers differently. Python creates integers from a built-in data type called int and decimals, decimals, or floating point numbers as instances of float. So you can see here, all right, integer, decimal, floating point. So again, here's your Python code, and you can see this is what you print, and this is your output. So we get an integer output here, but here we get a float because we have this 1.0. So working with strings is a collection of 0 or more characters declared using a single quote marks. Double quote marks also may be used. Adding to other strings with the same plus operator that adds 2 numbers. Okay, so x equals, this is a string. So you print x and it outputs, this is a string. Okay, you print outputs in a class in a string, this is also a string. So here we have x equals hello plus a string plus world. Okay, so then you're going to print hello world. Most programming languages support including comments in the source code, but they don't mean anything. It's just something for you to think about. Okay, it's not in the code. It is ignored by the compiler or the interpreter. So it's just a comment. It's just something that will spark your memory. So it's kind of, like it says, it used to explain how the code worked or why it was written. And usually goes like that. Hashtag I am a comment. Right, so you can see here, this is how Python writes this out. So keyboard, reading keyboard input. For reading keyboard input, Python provides the input function. So input reads what the user types on the keyboard and returns it as a string. Here's your string. Okay. So I have two optional activities. You can open the text editor on your computer and you type the code below. Save the document as hello world. Here is a demo. You click here. It goes to a YouTube video which does a demo for you. So you would input this. So you want to print, okay, and then you have open parens, quote, open quote, hello, comma, world, exclamation point, whoops, exclamation point, end quote, and paragraph. You have to, whenever you have a beginning, you have to have an ending. Okay, just like in hypertext, like when we were doing web stuff, HTMLs, you have a beginning and an ending. And this would be your result, hello world. Pretty simple. Another one. Okay, this one, instead of saying hello world, it's going to print welcome, which is over here. Enter your name, Hannah. So you want to say name equals input. And then you open quote, and then you have open parens, and you have your quote. It could be single or double. Enter your name, colon. And so this is where you would put your name. So whoever was typing this name was Hannah. So they would have typed Hannah in here. And then you have to end it. So print the word hello, comma, and then the name. Okay? So here's your input, and here's your output. So we're going back to Van Neumann architecture. We have input, output. That's it. See, I told you it was simple. Okay? Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please email me. Please do not fret about this. We have two activities this week. We have a Python activity, a Turtle Hour of Code, and a discussion due. I will also post the answers to the scavenger hunt, which is a great reference for the quiz, which is next week. All right, we're excited, and my credits. All right, so really that's it. That's it. Have a wonderful week. Okay, don't worry about it. You can do the Python hour of code. You can take your time doing it. It just asks you for one thing at the very end, to upload a screenshot of your completion to Moodle. That's all I'm asking you to do. All right, just try it out. Have a little fun with the turtle. Draw some squares and rectangles and change some colors. It's just an interesting, fun way of thinking about Python. Okay, have a good week, guys. All right, bye, everyone.